Hello and welcome to OTS software training. Today we're going to be covering ESI-Direct, which is a method for getting values. And the way this thing works in the process, when you obtain, let's say, data debt values or start of trust values, the program creates the original asset record with the inventory value, which is the value you obtained from via ESI-Direct. And of course, the valuation service provider for ESI-Direct is Evaluation Services, Inc., ESI. Okay, so let's take a look at how this whole thing comes together. I'm going to go to File, Import, and I'm going to open the Securities Pricing Program. That is where ESI-Direct resides. All right. If you click the Set Valuation Service and Options button, this would give you a place to enter your ID, your email address, and set certain valuation defaults. Like, do you want to use amortized GNMA values? Do you want to include the data debt for accrual purposes? You want to use just the bid instead of the bid and ask for bonds? And then, of course, if you have a common asset file that has not yet been populated, the process will add the valued assets to the common assets file. All right. It'll also apply splits during alternate value period for alternate value valuations. All right. I cancel out of that. Note too that this is where you select either ESI-Direct or EVP. Today we're going to cover ESI-Direct. So that is my choice. And I've got my credentials and defaults set up right here. If you want to get an ESI-Direct ID right here, just click this link and then follow the instructions from there. Okay, so ESI-Direct will obtain data debt values. And as I said before, when it gets those data debt values, it'll also create the original asset record. So you don't have to set them up ahead of time. All right. You don't have to key in that information. And all you have to provide in order to get that whole process going, the process of obtaining values and creating the original asset record, is to provide supply the ticker or CUSIP number and the number of units. That's it. Once you get data debt values, you could obtain values for distribution purposes, for market value purposes, and for alternate values. All right. So let's get some assets. So first you have to identify the type of valuation you need. And I want to get a data debt valuation. I'm going to add securities. So I'll click the Add Securities button. It opens the Add Securities dialog box. Here I could provide the CUSIP or CDAL number and number of shares, or provide the ticker symbol and the number of shares. Do I have, you could add these assets to group headers as you go. Let's set up the group headers so they're available. We want to see how that works. I'm going to close this, exit here, go to View, Group Headers. I'm going to add Broker A. And this would be assets held at Broker A. I'm going to save that, copy it, just make a few changes. This is Broker B, assets held at Broker B. All right, so now I have two group headers. Let's close that out. Back to the securities pricing program. And we want to get a data debt value. All right, let's go back to Add Securities. The first one is going to be ABV, ABBV, and we have 1,000 shares of ABV. All right, it is at Broker A. If you want to remove the selection there, just choose the blank item from the list. Okay, back to broker A. I'm going to click Save and Continue, so the program keeps this dialog box open so that I may add additional items for broker A. So let's go Save and Continue. The next one is going to be Walmart, WMT. And what we have here is 2,000 shares in broker A, save and continue. And then the last one at broker A is Danaher, DHR. And we have 2,500 shares at broker A. The 706 schedule is going to be the default schedule, which is schedule B for securities. But note that you can redirect to any other schedule that you choose. Keep in mind that whatever choice you make here will remain selected until you change it. So the idea is everything that goes on a specific schedule and which are in a specific group, you do together. And you only change the 706 schedule and the group header when you get to another group that is going to be reported with different options, different 706 schedule, different group header. All right, so let's add Danaher. I'm just going to click Save and Continue. We have two more to go. Amazon is the first, AMZN. And we have 1,000 shares of Amazon at broker B. Save and continue. And then the last item we have is Apple at broker B, AAPL. And here we have, let's see, we have 1,100 shares in broker B. And now that this is the last one, I'm just going to click Save to save that one record and close the dialog box. And these are the items we'll be entering. These are the items we'll be valuing, getting the data debt values upon completion. When I go back to the asset transaction browser, you should find that it now has original assets in there for each of these securities. The program doesn't yet know what securities are connected to these ticker symbols. And once you get the values, the securities will be identified and you'll see the real names right here. All right, so let's click Get Values. And it begins the process. It may take a minute or two to get through. What we're doing now is we are exchanging credentials. You know, we want to make sure we've connected to the right people. So we're requesting credentials from them, and they want to make sure that I have the right to request these values and they could bill me for it. So I'm providing credentials up to the other side. And then once we get rid of that little handshaking, the valuation request will proceed. Now, if the credentials fail, it, of course, would end the process. Okay, so the valuation process ended. And basically, we requested 5 data debt values. We updated 0 items. That means none of what we valued existed prior to this valuation session. We created 5 new items. That's what we were expecting. And then it began, once it created that original asset records, it proceeded to process the valuation file. So it added 1,000 shares of AbbVie, 2,000 shares of Walmart, 2,500 shares of Danaher, 1,000 shares of Amazon, and 1,100 shares of Apple. Note that they're listed in the group header listing, in the listing that we entered them, in the order that we entered them. Let's close this out. And if you want to see, going to ESI-Direct valuation report, this is the valuation report for the assets we just valued. All right, I'm going to close this out, close that valuation request, and then exit the securities pricing program. Now I'm going up to Asset Transaction Browser, and now we have a lot of stuff in here. I'm going to go to Composite View. Here are all the original asset records. Okay, so everything came out the way we expected. If I go print the schedule of starting assets, this is what they would look like, broken down by group header: AbbVie, Danaher, Walmart, Amazon, and Apple. Now, bringing them in uppercase versus mixed case is a setting that you could change. Let's keep that in mind. All right, I'm going to close this out. Let's go back to split mode. And I'm going to close this. What I'm going to do, this is ESI-Direct Demo. I'm going to go into the 706. I could get alternate values in here, but I want to demonstrate that, let's see, ESI-Direct Demo. That's the client we're working in, right? File, exit, because you can't open the same client in two different programs. And I'm going to go into the 2022 706. This is it. I am going to, let's supply my credentials, log in, and I'm going to open ESI Direct Demo. This is the one. A little housekeeping as it brings in the information. Remember, the 706 on accounting programs are integrated, so whatever you do in one is going to be available in the other. So this is what we have so far. Auto update is off. Let's fix that. Edit, user preferences, options, and for user settings, I'm going to go over to tax and turn on auto update. That way things calculate whenever I'm finished. And if you go to Schedule B, these are the assets we valued. Here is Danaher, Walmart, and AbbVie. And then in broker B, we have Apple and Amazon. All right, so everything came over okay. Let's go to page 2. We're going to elect alternate values. And let's go to page 3. And now our estate is showing only 525. I think that is accrued income on one of the assets, one of the accrued dividend on one of the assets. But that's the only thing in there. We don't have any alternate values yet. We will get them now. So go to File, Import, and again, we're going into the securities pricing program. Now, I could have done this in the accounting, but what I wanted to do is demonstrate that the process works the same, and whether you're in the 706 or the accounting, because both of those programs are integrated. They share a common database, a common interface. I'm going to say yes here. And this is what the program looks like in the accounting. Let me just minimize this for a second. So this is what it looks like in the accounting. There are some other buttons in the accounting to record accounting related transactions that have nothing to do with the 706. So they're not here, but the methods for doing things are the same in both programs. You open a dialog box and you complete it to add items. Let's go into that thing, the securities pricing product. And what I'm going to do is get alternate values. Notice that the program calculated the alternate value to be 71022. Did it was 11022. I'm going to select all. All right. And I'll get alternate values for all these securities. So let's say get values. It starts the process. And again, this is the same program, just running out of the 706. And it should take about the same amount of time. We'll see. Roughly the same amount of time. It's like watching, oh, here you go. We're done. Okay. So this is the log. And bear in mind, the log tracks everything that you do. If you go in there and edit a value, which you can do, it'll create a log entry for that activity. Okay. So this is just a log. You could print it, you could search for stuff in there. What it's saying is, we created 5 alternate values were requested for 7/10/22. That's the date. These are the session settings, the defaults. They updated 5 items, created 0 items. So that means that the securities that we've requested values for already existed. All the program had to do was obtain the values and enter them in this client. All right, let's close this out. And I'm going to go to ESI-Direct Valuation Report. And this is the data debt valuation report. Let's close that out. And we'll go to the alternate value. Oh, data debt is 110. This is the alternate value valuation report. Might have been what I brought up before. Anyway, I just read the wrong line. This is the alternate value valuation report. And yeah, apparently it was on a weekend, so we're really averaging 4 prices, one for Friday, one for Monday, and so forth and so on. Okay, all right, let's close this out. And I am going to close this valuation report. So you'll notice if you do a market value valuation, you would find it here. You'd select, we didn't do any. If you do a distribution value valuation, you want to print that report, you'd find it here. Let's close this out. Exit, and I'm going to go to Schedule B, and there are our alternate values. All right, this is what it looks like. So that's basically how the ESI-Direct valuation process works. It works in either the 706 or accounting. And of course, the accounting doesn't use alternate values. So if I went back there, I wouldn't be able to print a document showing that the values were obtained. And that's why we did that in the 706. Okay, I hope this was helpful. And thanks for viewing this recording.